Hey, we have the right scene. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Best of V, the Best of 5. My name is Elon, and I am joined, as always, by my two favoriteest people to podcast with. We have Steve, the main squeeze, Ace King offsuit, Jurek. Steve, how's it going?
On a scale of 1 to 10, it's going.
It's going. All right. And, of course, who could ever pass up the opportunity to work with the hardest working lady in the FGC, DaPurpleSharpie. Sharpie, how are you doing?
Still unsponsored by Disney. Thank you so much for asking. Right, I am available for hosting jobs. Go to biz@sharpiepls.com. Thank you.
Sick. Tonight on the show, we got quite a bit to talk about. We got some recaps, of course. We're going to talk about Look Alive. Of course, our own Sharpie was part of the show, so she's going to give her thoughts on the experience. Virtua Fighter 5 is out. Again, after 6 years. Well, 14 years, 15 years. Speaking of Virtua Fighter, there will be some virtual fighting because we got some Evo announcements. Who'd have thunk that was coming? We got more announcements, including Bull Kumite. There's some Tekken 7 notes of patches. KOF. We have the KOF weekly update on who's going to be in the game and a couple of other things. But before we do all that, Lord Steve, you ready?
I'm as ready as I will ever be.
Well, hit us with a recap.
Because we had another CPT event this past weekend. It was the first stop in Brazil for this year's CPT. And it's a familiar name on the top if you follow a particular sport. Ronaldinho, BR, is your winner, holding off the man he calls his rival, Jalehe, in the grand final. Zangi Bolado doing some things to make round out top three. But Ronaldinho doing it with Nash. Nash is back, and he was saying in the interview, if you caught that the buff to Sobat was a huge part of why he was able to win that particular matchup. So Nash certainly a beneficiary of the recent round of changes, and that's to Ronaldinho's benefit. So no goals for Ronaldinho, but a CPT event win. Congratulations to you.
Wow.
If you saw like every sort of mention on Twitter about that tournament once it got to grand finals, it was nothing but Ronaldinho memes and Mundial Ronaldinho Soccer 64 gifs.
There's never enough Ronaldinho memes, if in my opinion, of course.
No, there's always room for more. It's like Jello.
Word. Now, Steve, I feel like there's some stuff coming up, though. Can you look into your crystal ball and show us the future?
I might be able to do that. We've got another CPT event coming up, and that is going to be the Middle East. They get their first crack at qualifying for Capcom Cup. You also have the first of three regional finals for the Mortal Kombat 11 Pro competition. Liga Latino, so Latin America and Mexico, as well as Central America. They will have their finalists on display this coming Saturday. And then Monday, you've got another round of sets on Capcom Fighters, this time between Luigi and Chris Tessarian. Chris T back in the spotlight.
Interesting. When's the Gandhi set coming back? I know everybody was bringing up Gandhi up a while back. I kind of want to see Gandhi back.
That is the Gandhi versus FSP set is. I say this without hyperbole. It is my favorite set of all time in any fighting game. It is legitimately great to see. And you can actually, if you're a new player, there's a lot you can actually take away from that. If you'll remember, like a couple weeks afterwards, Ultra Chat, they actually had an in-depth breakdown of that set and saying, here's how this guy, who obviously has never played fighting games before, was able to win a tournament. This is what FFP... This is where he kind of slipped up. This is where he recovered, but this is where he slipped up again. It's so good. It's so good.
Of course. Anything with Gandhi is good.
Yeah. There was another event that we should have been talking about this past weekend.
What event is that, Steve?
This should have been the point in the show where we talked about all the tournaments that took place at Combo Breaker.
Yep.
It kind of bummed me out. But we did have sort of a stand-in event, a different sort of take on it. CB Look Alive. And there were members from all over the community, all over several different communities as part of it, including the person down and to my left, your right, or my right, your left.
I'm on the bottom. I'm on the bottom,
Sharpie,
everybody.
Can you please tell us about your experience on with CB Look Alive?
Sure. So why don't we go ahead and get into it by showing, at first, just a broad glance what the actual tournament was. Everybody's very, very familiar with Combo Breaker. I believe Combo Breaker has been around for quite some time, ever since UFG days. So this event was something that a lot of people in the fighting game tournament have known about. The event took place from March 28th all the way until March 30th. It was 3 days of showcases and tournaments from over 45 different communities, and 25 different content creators, commentators, and hosts showcased at the event as well. It was streamed by 2 different large production companies in the fighting game community, that'd be Tenno Media, who covered day 1, and Team Spooky, who covered day 2 and day 3. You can watch the VODs on their channel. Links will be in the description as well as on the screen. All VODs starting today have started to become uploaded on Esteban, otherwise known as the Bestebon's channel. You can find them youtube.com/user/holdbacktoblock. But let's get into the actual event, all right? Now, Combo Breaker has been a huge foothouse inside of the community. They have been known a very, very long time for doing things to uplift people and communities that don't get as much shine in the fighting game community. This year was no different. Because of the quarantine, they actually opted to open up their doors to so many more people than before, taking the opportunity to give a platform to online tournaments, content creators, as well as hosts and other members in the FGC that were helping to create a thriving environment during quarantine. Some of the things that we saw were even things like we saw quite a few sketches. We saw a lot of exhibitions and tournaments from games coming all the way back from Ultra Street Fighter 4 to like, oh my god, they had, I thought I saw a Digimon tournament at one point. I was losing my mind. There was so many different things. I really, really appreciate the way that every single morning, day 1, day 2, day 3, they posted a video of the minute by minute how you could expect the schedules to go. The fantastic thing was doing it online allowed them to pre-record these exhibitions but get people to commentate them live. So you had people like St. Cola, Sajam, James Chen, Team Spooky, all these fantastic commentators working live to cover pre-recorded games with members of the communities of those games. I saw Scrot Vermillion commentating Melty Blood. I saw, I believe it was Cloud King commentating Skullgirls. There were so many people commentating games that they don't usually get to cover just to talk about the community and online tournaments at the time. One of the things I really wanted to showcase was some of the merch that Combo Breaker had. This year was absolutely no exception to the fantastic, innovative merchandise of all time. All of this merch is available right now, combobreaker.org/store. Go over there, pick up some merch. They had a token grinder, they had sweatshirts, they had several hundred different types of masks. There were so many different things that caught people's attention. Everything had a design. There was a lot of applause for the amount of size selection as well as the different cuts that they had. And for the very first year, they actually had training cards that you could purchase to commemorate getting and being a part of Combo Breaker's Look Alive, which was, I thought, genuinely fantastic. At the end of the event, we actually had a very fantastic sum up by Majin Obama. I want to go ahead and play that for you all now. Majin Obama is a longtime fighting game community member, pillar, content creator, commentator, host. He's done everything. He resides in Japan and covers a majority of the local scene there. But when asked to go ahead and close out the tournament, here's what he had to say.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Majin Obama, and Rick hit me up. He said, I need some Saturday Night Live or Mad TV skits out of you. I told him I'm no good at that kind of I leave that to paid professionals, like Ernesto Lopez. But I did want to holler at y'all, just because, you know, it feels like we're getting into a position where America is kind of rounding a corner on this pandemic situation, and slowly but surely offline events are starting to come back. But what I wanted to urge you to do is, like, when you watch Combo Breaker this weekend, do not forget what happened last year. Do not forget what happened this year. This whole thing should be a wake-up call to all of us that tomorrow is promised to no man. We should value the time that we have, and also the good fortune that we have to be able to go to events like this, to be able to run events like this even, you know? It's really easy for us, I think, to get distracted by all the bullshit we see on the internet. But when you watch this event, you think about the good times that you've had at it over the years, all of that stuff seems to not really matter as much, you know? Given how things have kind of changed for Rick and his family, and also given the sacrifice that, you know, dozens of people that y'all don't even know or see make this event possible. What I really want for us to do is have a deeper respect and appreciation for those people who are able to make events like this one happen, you know? That said, you know, I'm not sure when we'll be able to meet at another Combo Breaker. Hopefully next year if Rick's down for it, and if everything seems okay. But let's do a better job as a community of taking care of ourselves, looking after each other, and creating an environment where we can all enjoy this kind of stuff in a way that we weren't doing before. That's all from me, man. Y'all look alive, and I'll catch y'all next time. Everybody be easy.
It was a very heartwarming moment and a very sobering moment to hear those words and be reminded that very shortly this pandemic will be over. We'll be returning back to offline events and everything will just be a blip in time. That sobering, very, very, very wise words from Majin Obama reminded me personally of how special this Combo Breaker event was and how much of a sacrifice people behind the scenes, specifically working at this Combo Breaker event, were making in their personal lives to make sure that there was something for the community at this point in time. And I really hope everyone also meditates on those words because they were so incredibly powerful and really, really profound. So, obviously, Combo Breaker Look Alive was fantastic. Very, very happy for it. We did have a couple of other things I want to showcase. The first of which is that the final message Combo Breaker left us with was that they will be returning, obviously, in an on an offline format next year, 2022. Let's go ahead and play the trailer.
Combo Breaker!
Very, very quick, succinct, easy trailer. Everybody knew it was coming. We were all very, very happy to see it. And like I said, it's just really important and even more important than ever for us to remember from this experience that none of this was promised to us at all. We weren't promised a large online event that showcased everyone's events a year after we entered quarantine. This was something that was brought out because everyone that was on the team for Combo Breaker, specifically Rick, had a vision of empowering the fighting game community. And by using that event and all of the staff possible, we were able to create something bigger than just us, which was Look Alive 2021.
Sharpie, thank you for your very, very heartfelt recap of the event. I feel ashamed that I unfortunately missed it due to real life stuff, but man, it's so cool to hear that this went well. And here's what I mean by that. Is when I saw Rick announcing this, logistically, I can only imagine what kind of nightmare this was.
Yeah, no, an absolute mess. I'll be honest with you. I did segments for the show, and I felt bad submitting them because I know I didn't quite hit the deadline for a certain thing, and so I know just behind the scenes it was a nightmare. I'll be honest with you. Rick was so incredibly accommodating, and it was really fantastic to see. I really want to shout out, especially Esteban, otherwise known as Hold Back to Block, right now on YouTube. Please take some time out of your day to go over to his YouTube and shoot him a like on the latest video, leave a comment, and subscribe, because this man was responsible for doing the main edits of all 3 days of Look Alive, to my knowledge, and that is just so insane to me. You guys saw the numbers, over like 90 different specific videos were required for this, not even including the transitions and ad space that happened. To see it be literally flawless in live time was beautiful. The VODs are also available on his channel as well, so just take some time out of your day, literally right now, youtube.com/user/holdbacktoblock. Give Esteban some love.
And then when you're done giving Esteban some love, you can look back a couple of months ago. We interviewed him on the show. And we talked about the KI documentary that he did. So, yeah, dude, guy's ridiculously talented, and it's so cool to see him put his like passion and his skill set into making the FGC a cooler place to be in. So I totally agree.
Before we go ahead and move to the next topic. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry, Steve.
Go for it, Steve. I was just about to say, Steve, do you have any thoughts?
I didn't catch as much as I initially planned to. I did catch, I believe it was Hokuto's exhibition in Super Turbo, hashtag old man games. I did catch your skit, Sharpie, and I thought to myself, did she really write an entire skit just to call grapplers brain dead meat sticks?
Brain dead beat sticks, and yes, I did. I was given an opportunity to go on brand with like 3 segments that encapsulated me, and I only made 2, but I felt the 2 I made really encapsulated me as a person in the fighting game community. That was my contribution to our community this year. Reminding people that grapplers ain't nothing but brain dead beat sticks.
Man, but I talked about this a little bit earlier. This every time I watched a little bit of it, it was awesome. But then in the back of my head, I was thinking, man, this should have been the week. I should be there right now. I should be making the salty walk over to McDonald's. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I should be getting these games in. And it just sort of bummed me out in a way that I really wasn't expecting. Which sucks. It really does. But I've got a couple days off coming up, so I'm planning on going back and catching. I've heard a lot of good things about the V-Save exhibition. I want to catch more of the Super Turbo stuff. I might have. I gotta watch TMNT because it's TMNT. You can't not watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Tournament Fighters. You just can't.
It's impossible.
It is impossible. You get like 5 seconds of that game and you're like, dude, I gotta watch the rest of the set. It's gotta be done. So, but yeah, it's really, really cool to see another creative take. I was kind of wondering what they would do after the retrospective last year, which was really well done.
Yeah, and the retrospective last year was put together in like a week.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So if they can put an entire retrospective together in a week, they could put Look Alive together with more time, and it's an amazing endeavor. Before we do move on from this, we did have Sharpie, you got a quote directly from Rick about his thoughts on Look Alive, yeah?
I did. I also had some custom music that I wanted to play beneath it in honor of some amazing commissioned work that he had from Mike 2600, a very famous disc jockey in the fighting game community. And I just wanted to play that while I read off the quote from Rick the Hado.
There you go.
For me, Look Alive delivered an excellent proof of concept for another way we can bring the community to fans of fighting games. Seeing unexpected commentary pairings create love for lesser-known commentators, watching local players make high-fight clips, hearing DJ routines happily surprise viewers, and fresh skits turn into new in-jokes on social made this showcase feel like the C in fighting game community was the important letter. I'm very interested in seeing how we can refine this show for a sequel. First of all, thank you so much to Rick for this quote. And oh my gosh, what a true quote. Am I right? Like, the event was just so encapsulating of our community, and it really was genuinely an honor to be a part of and an absolute pleasure to watch.
I like that he dropped the teaser for the sequel.
Yeah,
You heard it here
really
first.
I'm really hoping we get one next year. Understanding that they did this, I believe I was asked about like 2 months ago now, almost a month ago or so to do this. Seeing that they were able to plan it out in very possibly like a month or even 3 months means that there is a chance we may see it next year. But, you know, we never know, right? I'd just be happy Combo Breaker's coming back. Thank you again to everybody at Combo Breaker.
Yeah, I think all of us would be happy if Combo Breaker came back. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
More mystery game
when
tournaments.
Combo Breaker comes back. Combo Breaker comes back, because they are coming back next year.
I would be happy if I somehow got blessed with $100 so I can order that Bulls inspired hoodie.
Wouldn't we all, Steve?
That one's dope. That one is absolutely dope. Yeah. So.
Okay, so that's Combo Breaker Look Alive. Do we want to say any parting thoughts on Look Alive before we move on? Okay, sold. Let's move on to our next topic, because this one was a surprise to us last week, and it was a surprise to us today when it released. Unless you're an influencer, then you got the special influencer day yesterday. Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown is now available, as rumored, for free if you have PlayStation Plus. It is one of the free monthly games. And I've been seeing a lot of streams. I haven't played it myself, unfortunately, yet. But as someone who has never played Virtua Fighter and who has never seen Virtua Fighter, aside from like maybe like in passing, I have some first impressions. First, game looks amazing. It looks so good, right? Like, it's not polygons like the Virtua Fighter of old.
Is that the requirement, that it's not polygon?
Yeah. Although they do have special costumes that are the polygon models, which is kind of hilarious.
That is really cool. It's
hilarious. It looks like, from what people have been saying, it looks like there has been no balance change, so the game is as is from when Virtua Fighter left off. But the new visuals are good. Looks like the game plays really well. So remember how I brought up a concern last time that most of the games that run on the Dragon engine run on 30 frames per second on the PlayStation 4. This one runs on 60, it looks like. So good on them. Another big concern was the netcode. They didn't announce rollback. And there is no rollback. It is delay-based. This netcode is a bit of a mystery to everybody, because some people are having a really good experience with it. Some people are not. And with the technology afforded to us, such as the NetDuma routers that the pro gamers use nowadays, Team Spooky put this up, you don't connect directly to someone else. You're connecting to a server. And people were able to find out that you're connecting to a Google Cloud server. So the netcode is the netcode experience you have with Virtua Fighter 5 is rumored. Again, this is all not confirmed, but it makes a lot of sense to me. But the netcode experience you have with Virtua Fighter is all dependent on where you live. And lucky for us, Google is very public about where they have their cloud servers on. Look at that. So if you live in Oregon, California, Iowa, South Carolina, North Virginia, or Montreal, you're going to have a good time. If you live in Brazil, unless you live in the East Coast over there, you're kind of screwed. If you live in Africa, sorry. If you live in Russia, sorry. But it looks like, from what I've gathered, this kind of looks like it works on how we in the FGC started playing with Parsec. Right, we've been using Parsec and Amazon Web Services to have both players connect to a virtual machine and play on that virtual machine. It seems like that's how they're handling the netcode. It works when it works. It don't work when it don't work. That's where we're at. Have you guys had any thoughts about Virtua Fighter?
I have not had a chance to play it yet. I got up this morning, I went to work, I came home, and I got stuff together to cover one of the stories we're going to be talking about later that just dropped today. Mm-hmm. So my PS4, has remained in the off position.
Me too.
But I'm really looking forward to on Thursday getting my hands on it and diving in and seeing exactly if I'm as terrible at the game as I remember it being.
Yeah, I think it's been so funny watching everybody pick this game up again, if not for the first time. Like, I was watching Rip earlier today. He was streaming a little bit of it. And, of course, he picks the character that's exactly like Law from Tekken. What was his name? Jackie, I think. Yeah. It's crazy to me how some hits do so much damage in this game. Like, it's crazy. I see him do a backflip, and all of a sudden it's like that's a third of someone's health. I didn't know Virtua Fighter was like 3D Guilty Gear. Holy shit. Sorry, Steve.
It's
But
okay.
anyway.
I already got to go through Obama's video.
Why not just leave it? It's Obama. Imagine Obama. I should probably clarify.
Like, Obama's cool, but those who may take issue with our with the inclusion of profanity in our shows,
mm-hmm.
they're not going to give Obama the cool pass.
I would give Obama the cool pass. I like that guy.
Oh, he owns the cool pass. He distributes.
Can you afford
the
cool pass as much as you're cursing in these casts, and you have to put money in the swear jar? Honestly, Elon, can you even afford a cool pass?
Probably not. Oh no, Steve has.
Gotta pay venue
swear.
before you can get into the tournament.
Look, by cool pass, I mean just in general. I'm a big fan of Majin Obama. Now, as far as actually giving him a cool pass, I'm not cool enough to do that. He's probably cooler than I am. I should probably be asking him for a cool pass, to be completely honest. You feel me?
On the concept of rollback for Virtua Fighter 4, it was kind of weird to me if we could bring the image back up. Honestly, I didn't see a current spot in California. California does not have an actual Google hub right now.
Does it not?
There's Montreal. Yeah, the blue sites are places that they will be making one in the future.
Oh, yeah.
As in, they are not currently active right now. Meaning people playing on the West Coast are only going through the Oregon Trail. Now, look, I love this map because of everybody else in the entire continental United States of America, I'm actually the best off. I literally live in Northern Virginia. Xanadu is in the DMV area, the Northern Virginia area. So we're going to have perfectly fine connection. I could really care for anybody else. My venue is going to be packed with Virtua Fighter, hopefully when we open back up. But everybody else in the world, that's kind of unfortunate, honestly, Like, I'm just looking, I'm thinking, like, NLBC is going to have to go through that. and then people literally at Wednesday Night's Fight are going to have to go through the Oregon connection. If that's really what it's based off of, that does not seem very reliable at all. Like, minimum, basically, when you're talking about someone playing from an East Coast to West Coast connection, the best you could really hope for is someone literally from, like, Xanadu playing against someone and, like, against PNW or Tokyo or in Japan or something. So it's kind of, like, weird to me, honestly. I'm really hoping it's not that. But netcode's a very, very big decider about how long I play games, you know?
Okay, this is a up-to-date
Map? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So they actually,
yeah.
they still don't have anything in New York. That's so crazy. Well, I guess New York is closest enough to Montreal.
I guess.
I guess.
Not 100% sure.
It doesn't, that feels unfortunate. So there's only 2 places on the East Coast, and both of them are not New York.
Yeah, look at the...
That's crazy.
Look,
not
I
that
feel
weird.
like...
Amazon's here. So
I mean, look, I feel like this kind of represents the FGC as far as coverage for, like, event coverage.
That's
like,
literally
coverage.
impossible because there's nothing in New York. Like,
Let's make it clear that there's a difference between event coverage or FGC event coverage and FGC coverage.
Right.
Because there's a bunch of people in Ivory Coast, there's a bunch of people in Texas and Mexico and Brazil and Pakistan that have been putting in the work, and their community is just as worthy as anybody else's. I know that's not your intention.
Right.
I just want to make sure that gets said.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Where's Texas on the map here? I live in Texas. We have Google. We have a Google office here. It kind of befuddles me that they don't have a server here. That's really funny.
A lot of companies are moving from California to Texas, so that doesn't surprise me at all. What does surprise me is the fact that there aren't more, considering where they keep a lot of their data sources. You know, that's what really surprises me. That's why when I didn't see anything in New York, I was like, that's super weird. Usually when you look at data centers, you see so many in New Jersey and New York. A lot of them in Northern Virginia are very new. They were just started being built about 5, maybe 10 years ago. But, like, you have places literally in New Jersey and New York that have been in rotation forever. I suppose the only reason it's here in Northern Virginia is because this is where Amazon's headquarters is on the East Coast. So if you look on that map, both of the places they have the locations on the East Coast and the West Coast directly correspond with where Amazon has had their headquarters before. So, like, that would be my only guess. But that's still very strange to me for netcode purposes. And I don't feel like anybody should have to deal with that with a game they already pay money for. If you pay money for a game and you have to pay an online service to play online, like, you shouldn't also have to pay to get a better server access. That should be automatic. That should be reliable. That shouldn't be something that you have to gauge outside of the game. That should be easy. I just thought as developers, they would have learned better from the last year, you know, because netcode was a large conversation this past year. It's very frustrating to see that there's still people that aren't just like, immediately roll back, don't got to worry about the server connection at all. That's frustrating.
With that said, though, you got to give it up for them to trying to find a creative solution to this, right? Like using Google Cloud services like this. I don't think that's something that we've experienced in the FGC as far as, like, coming straight from developers.
Yes, we have.
Have we?
Yes, we have. There were fighting games that were announced for Stadia. Perfect Legend did something with Stadia earlier this past year. What?
Wait,
Stadia went. I don't remember what game it was.
Was it Sam Show?
It may have been. Honestly. But I specifically remember someone being like, I'm pre-ordering Stadia because I'm so excited for this game. This game's so good on Stadia. And I was like, what's going on here? I remember that as soon as you said Google rollback, I was like, oh, so Stadia.
Well, I don't think it's Google rollback. It's definitely delayed base, by the way.
I know, but that was my whole thing.
Negative
like,
frames.
That was
negative delay. Sorry.
That was the marketing point for Stadia. Stadia was like, you don't have to worry at all about how fast your internet is because you just go to this server. That was the whole thing with Stadia. And people are like, that's still really bad because there's no rollback. And I don't really see the rollback, you know? So.
Yeah, you right. Whoops. Sorry. I accidentally clicked the button I shouldn't have because I was losing that argument. Not that
it wasn't an argument, it was a conversation. Yeah, conversation.
Anyway, I lost. I'm kidding. Steve, I've never seen your eyes so wide in my life. What did I say something wrong?
No, I was just trying to figure out what that sound was.
Oh, you know what that sound was. It's the sound of our next segment.
Well, can I throw one more thing in there?
Go for it.
That I just learned. Some of the motion capture from Virtua Fighter 5 was performed by WWE superstar Asuka.
Ooh.
Oh, how about that?
You know.
That's actually really cool.
And knowledge is power. No, that's pretty neat. Did she do it just now for this new game, or did she do it back then?
I'm pretty sure it was back then, when for the original release, which was 12 years ago.
When was it? It was like 2006?
2006, yeah, 15 years for the originals. Oh, wow.
Everybody's so excited about a 15-year-old game. I can't believe it. Although, like, I everybody was excited about Guilty Gear X plus R. Everybody's excited about a bunch of stuff.
Good games never die.
Good games never die. Speaking of never dying,
as long as it's good, someone will want to play it.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to be good. People will want to play it. Speaking of being good, you know an event where people are really good at it? At fighting games? Sorry.
There was an attempt. There was an attempt
all right?
made, and we appreciate
I think my brain just broke. But anyway, you know that there's this event where people get to go if they're really good at fighting games, right? It's the name is based off of an old movie by Jean-Claude. Well, not by Jean. The actor Jean-Claude Van Damme was in it, and he fought a guy named Tong Po, and he won the Kumite. Red Bull Kumite announced that they're coming back in the year of the 2021. Let's look at the trailer.
First of all, I would like to apologize on behalf of everyone for that. Hold on. Oh no, you don't pause it.
Oh, you said hold on.
Yeah. Okay, I screwed that up. First of all, I would like to apologize for that segue that Elon tried to.
Look, not all of us can be winners all the time. Sometimes we can be losers, and that's okay.
But could you play the last 4 or 5 seconds of that trailer one more time, please, and listen closely?
Okay, let me turn up the audio. Okay.
I'll be back, all right?
Oh,
what does that?
There's the dang national anthem of the U.S. of A.
Yeah, so this was teased at the end of Red Bull Kumite, but this is pretty much confirmation that the second Kumite of the year will take place in the U.S.
Interesting.
Yeah, so offline event with international players in the U.S. That is going to be quite tasty. Quite tasty after a very long absence of those sorts of events on American soil.
Where have Red Bull Kumite events taken place? I know it was in London this year, right? It was London?
It's historically been France.
France, okay.
Yeah.
Was it in London this year? Am I crazy?
Yes. This year was London,
okay,
but previous Kumites have taken place in Paris.
Okay. Wasn't there one in Japan? At the Red Bull Sphere or something? Or am I making that up?
I know there was there was a you're right. I'm
right.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get over your segue. I'm sorry.
Well, look, like I said, not all of us can be winners all the time. Speaking of winners, you know who won in their own hearts and minds at an announcement that happened today?
Who would that be?
Anime fans, because AnimEVO's coming back. Let's take a look at the trailer. Play it. Oh, never mind.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Oh, that's a meme song. It's in public domain. Oh, so Vortex Gallery is now AnimEVO? Or no, sorry, backwards.
Yes. So AnimEVO, obviously the collection of side tournaments, the huge banner under which side tournaments from all over kind of flew under. They decided that they were going to change their name away from AnimEVO to disassociate it from Evo after the allegations that led to the second cancellation of Evo's 2020 event. This is their new name, Vortex Gallery, and they are going to go next Monday. They're going to have a special edition of Super Desperation Radio to kind of go over. It's going to be on their new Twitch channel, 956 Productions, which is also their Twitter handle. So definitely give them a follow to keep up with the side events going on this year that aren't going to necessarily be under the official Evo umbrella.
Mm-hmm. And and again, we had DJ Cream here on the show last year, right before they announced AnimEVO, and they did such a great job doing the impossible and having like 1 trillion games all in like a month, tournament wise. So they always do a great job.
What they do is just so to try and spin all of those plates is insane, and I just do the schedule for them. I just make the schedule graphic, and I get, I love it, but it drives me insane every time I do it, because it's like so many things changing last minute, and it's so big. It's like, almost 20 streams, I think, back in 2019. So
crazy.
Insane.
I think it's cool
crazy
that they're
insane
finally...
or insane crazy?
Insane in the membrane, and I do think it's cool that they're finally...
Insane in the brain?
Insane in the brain. I think it's really cool that they're finally doing their own thing and like stepping away from Evo, because I think it's about time, right? They started getting really, really big. Everybody talks about AnimEVO when you go to Evo.
Last year I thought was kind of the epitome of, wow, I really, really hope AnimEVO moves on, And I think a lot of people felt that same sentiment leading up to it. Like, I would say even like a couple, like as early as 5 years ago. There's so much more that AnimEVO catered to that Evo wasn't always able to supply, which was a really just extra nice touch, especially if you're in the area. Seeing them move on and be like, look, we're our own brand now. Here's how we're going to run our events. Support us, and other FGC events too, but mostly us. That's a nice transition to see. It's really nice growth.
Mm-hmm. I cannot wait to see what they come up with now that they are under their own banner at Vortex Gallery. So June 7th, what was it? June 7th at 956 Productions here on Twitch. They're going to have some more updates for us. Speaking of updates, it's time for our King of Fighters weekly update. Let's see who they're releasing, shall we? I did the wrong thing. Whoops. Wait. There we go. That's what I meant to do.
Yeah.
Oh, what a spoiler. Now I know that they're at the beach.
I missed the beach. Oh, it's Blue Mary.
Okay.
I miss the beach.
I don't get it.
Let's go to the beach.
I don't get it either.
Shout outs to VXG.
I don't get it.
Oh, man. These are the days when I feel old. Like, how old is that meme now?
I didn't even know it was a meme. I don't know what you're talking
I don't
about.
think it was actually a meme, Steve. I feel like you just old. What was the TikTok sound for it?
We don't say those words here. Those words are banned. Anyway, Blueberry. Some people are excited about this. Some people are very excited about this. For reasons, but
I really like that stage, all joking aside. It's very pretty.
Yeah,
stage
another
is-
grappler,
KOF
huh?
stage. KOF stages
It's KOF, though.
have historically been great, and it feels like these ones, they're knocking them out of the park once again. Man, but Blueberry. So we're alternating. I don't know if we're alternating between one character week and two characters a week, or it's just like they're pulling numbers out of a hat, or what the exact modus operandi here is for SNK. But I like that there's a little bit of mystery to it, because you don't know exactly what you're going to get.
I'm sorry. Muckmaster said Steve's the old man that calls memes fads, and I can't stop laughing.
You know what?
Because he really did try to go back in time. Like, it came out in June.
Oh my god!
You know what? If you went to a website called YTMND back in the day, they were called fads.
Yeah, I was
So
there.
that cuts me very deep in my soul.
Wait, what are fads?
Okay,
When you
so-
fade a gene, right? Like when a color is turning from one color, like a gradient. That's what it is, right? It's like fade, but without the E, right?
You're the Man
Like,
Now
it's not
Dog was the
electric?
best website ever. I'm rest in peace.
Steve, help me out here. Like, I'm feeling really dumb.
We're gonna move on to.
We're like
other
5
topics.
years apart. I'm not even that young. Like, I feel maybe I'm just not understanding.
We're gonna move on to other topics. There's one thing that I came across and threw in the doc during right before we opened up. There is an article from The Atlantic written by Luke Winkie, and I'm going to link it in chat right now. It's called "The Original Kings of Esports." It looks at the sort of the history of Black people in esports, or sort of an overview about why we don't see more Black people in a lot of different esports, and it tells it, and it focuses in on a couple of FGC members, Jason Cole, aka Afro Cole, and Ryan Hart. I'm going to throw that link in chat right now. Definitely give that a read. It is a very interesting piece of history, and a very interesting, very thought-provoking piece. It gets into the reasons of differences in prize pools and so many different things that it touches on. So,
That's
and
pretty cool.
I know it's something that probably deserves more than a 30-second shout out, but I think that's all I can really do right now. Maybe we, depending on how next week goes, we can maybe we can discuss that a little bit more
Okay.
next
Then,
week.
then next week we will discuss it a little bit more, depending on how things go. Let's move on to our final topic of the night. Maybe the final topic of the night. Maybe there's a surprise topic we haven't talked about yet. However, this one's a doozy. So, you guys remember a couple of months ago where we had a weird, interesting, yet slightly ominous statement that was handed out by the folks over at Evo, and the folks over at PlayStation, and the folks over at Endeavor. And there was that PlayStation and Endeavor were co-owners. Well, not co-owners. They heavily invested and merged with Evo. Maybe merged isn't the right term either. I'm not entirely sure what the right term. However, Sony and Endeavor are now completely involved in Evo. And today, we got a lot of deets and a lot of announcements from the folks over at PlayStation. So, the PlayStation blog put out an announcement today that Evo 2021 is a-coming. And it's coming in the form of Evo Online 2021. And it's taking place August 6th through 8th. And the 13th through the 15th. And if you want some more information, you can go to evo.gg.
So we actually have a breakdown of all of the things they announced today. We didn't really learn a whole lot about Evo itself, but there's a series of events, a series of online tournaments that are going to build up to Evo in August. And it starts with what they're calling the FGC Arcade Evo Edition. If you'll remember, PlayStation ran an FGC Arcade event, which was sort of an exhibition in several different games. They brought in top players and had them do first to 5 sets. This one's going to work a little differently. There will be open tournaments in both North America and Europe for Grand Blue, MK11, Guilty Gear, and Tekken 7. This will take place from June 10th through June 22nd. The last 2 days are going to be sort of final exhibitions for these events, because the winners of each of these regional tournaments, each game, there will be 4 regions, East and West for both North America and Europe. The winner of each of the top 4 of each of those events get to split $1,000, so $16,000 in prizing. Plus, the winners of each of those events get to take on a pro player in each of those games. So they have not announced which players will be participating, but perhaps if you win MK11, you might have to face Sonic Fox or Scar in the exhibition on Saturday or Sunday, the 21st, 22nd. So,
yeah. In addition, I'm sorry, did we have any more thoughts on FGC Arcade Evo Edition? Okay. In addition to FGC Arcade Evo Edition, they announced the Evo warm-up tournaments, which will be coming. Here we go. Which will be coming just a week after FGC Arcade is over. Steve, do you want to take it from here? Because you're good at reading your slides. I'm not. I'm illiterate.
So the next stage is going to be what they're calling online warm-up tournaments. These are going to run from June 26th through July 13th. Each game will have 2 days of qualifiers, and then that third day on the end is the final. So for Street Fighter V, the qualifiers are going to be June 26th and 27th, with the final taking place July 6th. There will be 5 regions here for each of these games, or for most of these games, excuse me. North America, Europe, Latin America, Middle East, and Asian Japan, which is, Japan gets its own, you'll see why they make that distinction in a little bit.
Now, Steve, let me ask you a question. What does it mean that they're having qualifiers?
So the basically, when I say qualifiers here, I mean like the opening rounds of the tournament. Each region is going to have its own build up to a regional final. So the top 2 from there's going to be a couple different tournaments for North America East and North America West. Top 2 from each of those tournaments will make a top 8, a regional final, and the winner of that is where the cash prizing will be awarded.
Interesting.
So those regional finals will be July 5th for Guilty Gear Strive, July 6th for Street Fighter V, July 12th for Mortal Kombat, and July 13th for Tekken 7. If you're watching us in Asia/Japan, unfortunately, you won't be able to participate in the MK11 tournament. I'm not 100% sure why that game is excluded from this lineup, but it is also excluded from the Evo proper lineup for Asia and Japan.
Yeah. Do we have any more thoughts on the Evo warm-up tournament? Look, and you can go to compete.playstation.com to go sign up for these tournaments. It's all through the PlayStation esports portal. And all these are free, and you get some money in your pocket if you win. I think that's pretty cool. Pretty neat. Do we have any final thoughts on the warm-up?
Was that all of the Evo news that was announced?
Nope.
Did they not announce anything else?
Oh, no. They announced a lot more.
Oh, wow.
Are you ready for the big announcement?
Yeah. Let's see.
This is, I think, the biggest announcement of all that we have here. They also announced the Evo Community Series. And it is titled A Festival of Regional Events. So let's take a look. And these are the Evo side tournaments. So one of the things that they mentioned on the PlayStation blog post is how side tournaments and the spontaneity of anything happening at the venue, you can play a game at any time. There is kind of the core of Evo. So they wanted to try to replicate that as best as they could. So they have over 120 side tournaments with over $74,000 in prizing. And prizes also include PlayStation 4 themes and avatars, by the way. There will be over 100 hours of tournament broadcasts, among a bunch of other stuff. And these are the games that they're going to be running for these. It's going to be Blaze Blue, Cross Tag Battle, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Fighters, Grand Blue versus. Then it's Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost, Skullgirls, Soul Calibur 6, and Uniclear. And much like the other tournaments, with one exception, they're adding one region. For these tournaments, they'll add the Latin America region. I almost called it the LATAM region, but I don't think that's right. See, this is why I'm not good at reading. They're adding the Latin America region to all the regions we mentioned earlier. And these tournaments will run through July 8th all the way up until August 3rd. So it's going to be non-stop action for the entire month of July. Yes, Steve.
One bit of clarification there. Latin America is...
Yeah, Them's Fighting Herds is on there, by the way.
It's a little weird because there is no listing on the website, on the blog post for Them's Fighting Herds. But there is a sign-up sheet when you go to the registration page for Them's Fighting Herds tournament. So it's not 100% clear whether that will be part of the lineup. I would guess that probably it will be there, but we don't have official confirmation on there.
Well, let's go look what happens if we register. It's also, Them's Fighting Herds is on PC, by the way, so that's interesting.
The game is only out for PC. It's not available on any other consoles.
Well, that explains that.
I believe it explains a lot about why we're not seeing it necessarily on the official Spotlight sponsored by Sony, where all the other games are exclusively on PlayStation, the console of choice.
Yeah,
so I mean, it makes sense to me, them being like, what other fighting games are we missing? Nothing, because these are the only fighting games on our console type of thing, you know?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't think that's necessarily the case because there is a PC game or a PC only game in the main Evo lineup, and that's listed.
But Steve, what's the PC only game in the main?
Tekken 7.
But Steve, you also have to remember that specifically in order to register for these tournaments, you are required to have a PlayStation Network account, meaning a live account, as well as PlayStation Live. So it's like, it really just feels like incentivizing the whole PlayStation line. I'm not saying it was like they specifically left out Them's Fighting Herds, and I'm not saying, we can't, it's not 100% confirmed, because everything that I've seen coming from direction and organizers seems to be that you can register for Them's Fighting Herds via Evo. It will be at Evo. That's the conversation I'm hearing.
Yeah, it just looks like half of the tournament goes through the Evo or the PlayStation esports competition portal. The other half, and by the other half I mean the games. Yeah, the games that are not PlayStation 4. See, because I believe if we hit, well, let's see here. Let's take a look at Tekken 7.
When I went to register for Skullgirls, just to go see what it was like, it sent me to like a page on PlayStation where I was supposed to go register and everything.
Yeah, so
it was like
yeah, it looks like the main Kahuna games, which we'll get to in just a little bit for EVO Online, are through Smash GG, and here they are, along with Them's Fight right there. However, as soon as I can find the back button on this browser, there we go. If you click any of the, with Fighting Herds, Them's Fighting Herds being the exception, if you click register on any of these other titles, it takes you to the PlayStation Tournaments Evo Side Tournament page. This is one of those things where the PlayStation Overlords, I mean, of course, PlayStation Overlords are gonna...
It's not PlayStation, it's Sony. It's Sony specifically.
Right.
It's specifically this is very obviously one of the things that Sony decided was going to happen for registration for these events, right? And that's not like any shade. That's just how they want this done, which is, I suppose, fine. Like, I don't necessarily have an issue with it as long as the tournament happens. It's just kind of strange to me because the community has actively decided we're going to use this website to document all of this, and there's a lot of things that have gone into preparation for things like, for example, I run Xanadu. One of the fantastic things that happens at Xanadu is everyone goes through Smash GG. So regardless of where they go in the country for the rest of the year, when they go to challenge in an event, people can immediately look up their stats. You can see how to seed this person. It's easier for people. It's harder when people are not on the platform to incorporate things like that. In addition, there are some streams and some production teams that actually use API that directly integrates with Smash.gg API because it is actively available for developers. So it's kind of frustrating in that regard because I've seen all the advancements stream and documentation has been able to make because of specifically Smash GG, but Smash GG is now owned by Microsoft, So it's like, it totally makes sense to me. I get it. It's just frustrating.
Unfortunate. Yep.
In addition, some of the games there have very, very active PC players and communities that would prefer it going through Steam instead of PlayStation for online experiences. And one of those communities is Skullgirls. So last year, when Skullgirls was a main game, we were promised PC access specifically, which was a big reason why a lot of people in the Skullgirls community who hadn't previously signed up for an Evo event or even signed up for an online event very recently signed up. It's the PlayStation 4 experience for Skullgirls specifically is not terrible, but it's not the same as the PC experience. In addition, they also can't play the newest character. So it's kind of a big toss-up about like wanting to go back onto a console when we've been practicing on a completely different system. And it's weird too because now that there's a whole different I want to say tournament organization structure with Sony acquiring Evo, there's not even a real understanding of what do I do if this isn't something that the community really wants. Like, who do I talk to? Where do I bring this up? Do I just tweet about it and hope someone hears me? Do I go on a conversation on the podcast that I have later that day and decide whether or not I want to burn all bridges with Sony? You know, like things like that. It's just, pops in the mind. My point with all of this is obviously that like
Go ahead.
that like it is really interesting to see the changes that are taking place. Obviously, none of this is finite, but it is a very interesting process, I will say.
Here's hoping it gets smoother in the future.
Right.
That's all I can say. I mean,
that's all
honestly,
anyone can say.
Yeah. Wish I got better news for you. I'm sorry.
It's not
Steve.
bad news. Like, I'm happy Skullgirls has an opportunity to be anywhere near Evo. That's kind of cool. It's just, it's not a main game this year. And it was going to be one last year, so here's my face. It's like I can't cry on the podcast, can I,
face.
Elon? I can't.
I mean,
cry,
you're allowed
right?
to. You can do whatever you want.
I really wanted
Within
it to
reason.
Be, I was really hoping, especially when I saw them Fighting Herds on the Smash GG. I was like, maybe they'll make an announcement that them Fighting Herds and Skullgirls will both be on PC, and they're the last minute main games, because of last year, and it didn't happen, and I'm still waiting for it to happen, and I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Maybe in Evo 2022. We can. I don't know. I wish I had more comforting words, but I unfortunately don't. So I'm just gonna stop.
Skullgirls
trying to
community
be
doesn't
comforting.
usually get comforting words, so we're just kind of sitting here with a smile on,
Yeah.
So
Sad
that's
times.
going to be an interesting how Sony approaches this, because we're all under the assumption that we're going to get an offline Evo in 2022.
Mm-hmm. Are we?
I'm interested to see. You would think so. I'm interested to see how their approach to an offline event is when they're talking about putting together a game lineup, and some of those games will be on the main stage. If they go a similar lineup size as previous Evos, there's no guarantee. They might decide, okay, we're going to do 15 small tournaments. Okay. Or we might just do 3 big tournaments. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's still going to be questions until next year about what Evo's plans are. And that will be very unique. It'll be a very unique situation when you're asking those questions of an event that already has an event under its belt, which it will after this year's Evo. So
I think this is just a really good opportunity for Evo to really focus on what they want for the future and what type of event they want to become, especially with only having to cater to an online audience right now. Because your very first tournament is a large, very, very large indicator of your longevity in the fighting game community. So if they're able to smash this one out the park, it's a really good foundation. Similar to how I know I spent 20 minutes gushing about it, but Look Alive was such a fantastic event. There were people tweeting I've never been to an event before, but I saw Combo Breaker, and I have now just made sure to buy all of this merch and to put aside money to be there in 2022. That's what people did after the online Combo Breaker experience. That wasn't even a tournament, just an experience, right? So Evo has really, really big holes to fill for this tournament, especially considering that immediately after it is Climax, which is already a very well-known, community-driven tournament. So how they plan to establish themselves really, really matters right now. So I don't really have any words of advice for them. It appears to me that they have very knowledgeable people on their team that understand a lot about how things ideally could be run and changes that could be improved on. So I'm just interested to see where that lies, or what that ends up taking everyone,
I do know. I don't know. I'm kidding. But no, you're absolutely right. That's all I had on
Good
that
talk, Elon.
Yeah.
Good talk.
Yeah, I have no rebuttal.
I felt I left that really open-ended. I don't know what I could have done better conversational-wise there.
you could have made things on my end not be exploding, so I apologize. So let's bring it back to Evo, because we have this whole thing. I wanted to point this out that they have written in the website that I thought was very interesting. And you see where it says format and pricing. The second paragraph there next to the Evo PlayStation 4 theme you can earn if you participate in the tournament says, become a main attraction. Wait, sorry, go ahead.
Can you make it a little bit larger? It's kind of difficult to read.
Oh, well, we can always try. Let's give it that old college attempt.
Yay!
There we go. So it says, become a main attraction in the qualifiers for a chance to fight on PlayStation's Twitch and YouTube channels during elimination rounds. That almost reads like a Carney type of post, like step on up, hit the bell, and win a prize.
You got to remember, their approach isn't necessarily just to people who are in the FGC. Yeah.
Right.
You know, this is to cast as wide of a net as they possibly can to bring in players who might not necessarily know about fighting game tournaments, who might not, because you take a look at the number of people who go to events for something like Street Fighter V or Tekken 7 versus the number of people who actually play Street Fighter V or Tekken 7, there's a ridiculous gap that something like this could help close. So yeah, it seems a little silly to us who are in the community, but
we scoff.
Yeah, we're not everybody. We are not everybody.
I just like the Carney approach to it.
My personal favorite part of all of it is not even a percentage, it's just a flat amount. That's so weird to me, coming from a tournament organizing standpoint, like seeing a flat amount. Here's how much you're definitely going to win regardless of who enters the tournament. That's weird for me to see, but I get it because it's a free entry tournament, right? So it's just flat pot bonus. But that's super weird. I remember the last time I entered a tournament, it was just a flat bonus, because usually it's very dependent on, hey, if we get over this amount of people in, here's what you all get. Here's the split between the people. So it's cool. Actually, I
was just going to say, speaking of pricing, the pricing for the main Evo tournaments has not been announced yet, nor has an exact schedule. So it will take place the first 2 weekends of August. But how much money is going to be on the line, that is still to be determined.
Who knows? That's interesting, right? Because usually with a tournament as big as Evo, and I guess this is one of those things where I guess they're still trying to secure funding for it, maybe, because it's still, 3-4 months away. Usually, like, the big draw is like, oh, you could win $10,000, or you could win, right? Was that what Evo 2019 was? 10 grand pop bonus for every game?
It was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous amount of money, I'll tell you that.
I don't remember, but either way, it feels like that's usually a big drawing, or a big, persuasion point for people to participate. It's like, oh, look at all the money.
The large amounts of money, yes. Evo being one of the largest prize pool events,
yes,
because of the additional money and pot bonuses from the event itself and from publishers, yes. So it's very interesting that the online payment formula is kind of like this, That's why I'm just like, huh. It's definitely a start. It's definitely something new that we haven't seen before. It's just it's very interesting. What were you saying, Steve?
The Evo has lost a little bit of that in the last couple of years.
That is true.
With the advent of the pro circuits, because now, 6 years ago, what was the biggest payday for pretty much every game? Evo. You win Evo, it's not necessarily enough to make a living on, but it's still, a nicer chunk of change than you can get anywhere else. Now, the biggest prize for financial prize, at least for Street Fighter, is Capcom Cup. For Tekken, it's the Tekken World Tour Finals. All of these games, all of these circuits have their own developer-funded finals that they want to point the attention to. Capcom, they could splash 50,000 for the Street Fighter pot and get some attention, but hey, if we splash 100,000 to our pot and have the entire stage that weekend to ourselves and not have to share it with Tekken or Mortal Kombat compete for that sort of mind share. If we don't have to do that, cool. So you're seeing more of that, and now Evo doesn't necessarily get that sort of shine. So I'm interested to see how much, if Sony decides, or Sony and the others that own Evo now decide to splash out of their own pockets to maybe get some of that shine back.
Yeah. Super agreed. That's why I keep saying they have so much opportunity here. You can really separate yourself. I feel like even without Evo this year, I'm sorry, not this year, but this past year, Combo Breaker did a fantastic job standing out. Even though it wasn't like the only tournament that happened, the only exhibition that happened, Combo Breaker stood out. Climax still managed to stand out even though we didn't get anything last year, just by them and what they made of the fighting game experience. So it's like Evo really has a huge opportunity. They don't just have to be the biggest anymore. They don't just have to be the loudest, the most expensive or anything. They really get to decide what they want to become. And that's why all of this is so interesting to me, is because it's like, what does this really mean for the longevity? Like, what are they really trying to set up here? Like, that's so cool to watch happen in real time,
Let's just hope it goes the right way and not the wrong way.
It'll go away, and whether or not it's the right way or the wrong way, the reality is it's still a win for fighting games.
True. Also, Steve, when you said they don't necessarily have the publisher pricing, I thought it was going to be because of the happenings that caused the fall of Evo last year, which I think is also like a big thing too. Like, I didn't think about that. It's like they have that name is now tied to that event.
I don't think it will necessarily be as big of a deal, because unfortunately the Evo scandal was one of many scandals that was rocking the gaming community at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to, unfortunately, plus it was all, Evo was in a little bit of a different situation in that, yes, Wizard was the public face of Evo, but it was still, all of the issues were tied to Wizard. Mm-hmm. They weren't tied to Wizard and other people in the chain of command. It was just him. So by cutting ties with Wizard, they're much better set up to make the, hey, we've made a completely clean break argument than some other organizations maybe.
No, makes sense. I can agree with that. I'll buy that for $1. Speaking of buying things for $1, there's one thing we cannot buy, and that is time. And unfortunately, ours has run out. So, before we say goodbye, as always, I'd like, let's see if we can have some parting words for today's episode. Sharpie, do you have any parting words, any final thoughts before we say goodbye to the people?
This past year has been wrought with turmoil as Majin Obama went over in his commencement speech for Look Alive this year. I think that everyone should remember and really, 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 really meditate on this last year and think about how easy it was for an entire community to effectively disappear with literally one change. We're still very young, and as much as we like to believe we'll be around here forever, we may not be. So I really hope that everyone in the community tries to do their best to improve and better our community, be it one day at a time, 1 month at a time, or even 1 year at a time, as long as we're moving forward. I think that's the most important thing to remember about this, and to do it sooner rather than later.
Agreed. I meant that genuinely. That came off as like really sarcastic. I apologize.
You're having a night, Elon.
My brain is shut off. I'm not even gonna try to make something up for that. But Steve, any parting thoughts for the people?
Can I get the zoom in?
I was waiting for you to start talking, but all right.
I have no parting thoughts.
All right, thank you, Steve, for those parting thoughts.
Vibes.
Vibes.
Steve, just so you know, I was being sarcastic there.
Thank you. I was just hoping that your sarcasm was a fad.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
Oh my god!
It's a temporary.
I genuinely do not.
Okay, look, a fad is just like
to have words.
It's a trend. It's a trend. Just think of it as a trend.
Why didn't you just say that?
Because fad was the hip word for it like a couple years ago, and by a couple I mean
was
like
it when
12
people
years
said
ago.
hip and weren't talking about their bone structure?
I still say hip, not talking about
bone
structure.
As in you broke one? As in that's the day of our lives? You know what I mean? Like you're that old, breaking hips. Okay. Yeah.
This has been another episode. This has been another episode of Best of Five. Steve's gone. We scared off Steve. This has been another episode of Best of Five.
My chair's stuck. I can't leave.
Oh no. Oh man. This has been another episode of Best of Five. I've been Elon. As always, I'm joined by my fellow cohorts, the Steve the Ace King offsuit Jurek, and the wonderful DaPurpleSharpie. Sorry. You can see all of our social media tags in the screen. You can feel free to follow us there. But for now, we are done for today. So we will see you here next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central for another episode of the Best of Five. Now you both say your things.
Good night, Canada.
Good night, Canada.
Yeah.
Perfect. I clicked the wrong button. Oh no! It's all gone off. Oh, it's bad.
What a day.
All right. Good. That's all, folks.